The anime story gives enough time to evacuate the area as each time he awakens. However, in this world, there are two famous mages who people depend on, and Kira. One night all the fighting stopped. These two mages told everyone they need to seal the dragon tonight before it's too late. So all the soldiers and cloaked men stood together, waiting for the dragon Zot to appear and finally seal him for good. Once the purple moon was out, we see Hiro's mother, a famous witch, known for her incredible swordsmanship and her two juicy bouncy balloons. She purposely set herself up as bait, pretending to sacrifice herself to attract the dragon Zot, as it was told the legendary Zot also loves juicy jugs just as much as we do. When she starts screaming out for help, two claws raise from the ground and a giant shadow forms around the ritual and Zot there, but at this moment she quickly uses a spell, unleashing herself and puts the chains onto the dragon and pulls out her sword. At this moment, Hiro's father, named Byro, transforms from one of the soldiers into his true form and begins the sealing. However, during the process, Byro is struck by an arrow in his back, causing him to fall and bleed out. However, he insists that they both continue the sealing ceremony, or the dragon will never answer for his crimes and Zot's flames will destroy all souls and devour the land. However, Zot breaks out of the sealing magic and calls Byro a pathetic noob, and proceeds to attack his son Hiro. But while Zot tries to attack, his father uses a spell with his hand saving the boy, but this causes the boy and the dragon to have a permanent scar on their chest, and right after the dragon uses its flames to destroy the entire ceremony, and everything gets blasted into smithereens, leaving only Hiro alive because of his father's protective spell. Many years go by, and Hiro has now arrived at a new city where everyone is checked by the guards before entering. However, the guard was shocked upon looking into Hiro's eyes and lets him enter without any problems, and he must know it was the son of Byro. He wanders around the town guards and soldiers. Nambuku starts throwing copper coins at the people and calls them all worthless smelly peasants and to bow before him immediately. All the villagers pick up the coins and start fighting over them, and one of them falls next to Hiro. And Hiro tries picking it up, but one of the city boy thieves, named Pesce, steals it from Hiro
to steal the Grand Troa, and they explain how they need to leave now, otherwise the boss will get angry. However, Pesce stays behind and can't help himself after seeing the Grand Troa and climbs up.
Take the crest back, but before they could, Hiro appeared just in time and puts his massive blade right against his ugly ogre face, and told the bodyguard that the only time he ever draws for his Hiro just cost him a fortune by trying to be the nice guy. Right then the boy steals the crest out of Hiro's hands and bolts off down the street and runs away with his street friends. Later on, the boys go back to their secret city hideout and talk about Hiro being injured and ruining their plan. However, Hiro sneaks inside their base and takes back the crest claiming it belongs to him, and none of them have no idea how valuable this is and what it means to him. Hiro asks the boy who stole it what his name was, and he introduces himself as Tomet. The other boys call Hiro a dumb moron and said that what they steal still belongs to them. So Hiro runs away, and all the boys start chasing him on top of the rooftops and through alleyways. Meanwhile, another mysterious man, named Juru, a piece of paper, but no one in the market recalls seeing this boy. However, Juru's companion tells Juru that he's stolen too much from them already, and that this is the first town Hiro would most likely come to visit first. In a grand mansion across town, Nambuko hosts a lavish dinner for his guests. Despite his facade as a mere merchant, Nambuko's true colors emerge as he pressures his guests into selling. Their tensions escalate when a clumsy servant, who had greeted Nambuko earlier, accidentally shatters a rare jar. The lord of the city fumes at the loss, but before he can voice his frustration, Nambuko's armed guards swiftly intervene, their swords drawn, ready to enforce their master's will. As tensions rise in the mansion, the girl unveils the Grand Troa, suggesting a partnership with Nambuko. Tempted by the offer yet wary of his reputation, the crystal with its tongue. The girl, quick to react, uses her magic to open the ceiling, causing both the creature and Pesce to tumble down from above. The next morning, Pesce finds himself out in the city square, facing execution. Like clockwork, Hiro intervenes, halting the execution with practiced ease. Nambuko's soldiers move in, but Hiro dispatches them effortlessly. Infuriated, the girl unleashes her lightning magic at Hiro, who deftly evades her attacks, just as the situation as in Troa, only for Hiro to boldly claim it as his father's possession, sending a ripple of concern through Nambuko. In a desperate move, the girl channels the Grand Troa's magic, unleashing a powerful blast toward Hiro. With quick reflexes, Hiro manages to deflect the attack, but not before the girl shatters its beak. As the dust settles, both the seal on Dagon Zot and the emblem on Hiro's chest illuminate. Blinded by and stilled, he delights in the realization that people now clamor for his protection in the wake of such terror. The scene then shifts to the thieves' hideout, where Hiro lies unconscious. Juru recounts the events of 10 years past, when Hiro's parents attempted to steal Dagon Zot. Buffer zone, the chosen site, was strategically located at the heart of 3 powerful kingdoms. Hiro's mother, Kismatid, sacrificed her soul to Lair, and Hiro aided with the sacred mirror. Together with 100 elite mages, they commenced the sealing ritual, but tragically, their efforts were in vain. Despite Juru's intervention to save Hiro, his consciousness, he immediately searches for the dragon, driven by a relentless desire for vengeance. Juru attempts to calm him, revealing that he has been training Hiro for the past decade and has taken him under his wing. Meanwhile, Tomet underestimates Hiro's newfound strength. He describes Nambuko as a nefarious arms dealer who causes conflict between kingdoms for personal gain, manipulating markets and bankrupting merchants with his trade in magic stones. Shifts to Sharisharu, distraught over Nambuko's departure and seeking solace, she turns Nambuko for abandoning her in the city, but he remains unconcerned, instructing her to locate Hiro. As hunger grows in Hiro's stomach, he buns and he refuses to spend it on an extravagant restaurant. Their argument catches the attention of the restaurant owner, who harbors resentment towards them for causing a scene earlier against Nambuko. Suddenly, a cat-eared girl named Erin intervenes, inviting them to join her for brunch. They follow her to a nearby restaurant, where they sit down to eat together. Erin, intrigued by the earlier commotion in the city square, deduces Hiro's identity as Lord Barrow's son, leaving Hiro and the others. Hiro and his companions take refuge in the thieves' base, much to Tomet's annoyance, the elf arguing with Hiro over sleeping arrangements. The next day, Tomet asks Hiro about their plans, and the freeloader remains steadfast in his goal to find Nambuko and retrieve the Grand Troa. Juru, however, refuses to become a bootlicker and warns Hiro of his perceived weaknesses, urging him to tread carefully in his pursuit. He is low-key calling him a crappy swordsman with big talks and no skill at all. Juru proposes that the others remain at the base temporarily while Hiro hones his skills. Though Tomet opposes the idea, Hiro assures him that Juru will take care of them and even cook for them. Reluctantly, the kids agree, and soon after, Hiro weak slimes. However, seemingly straightforward, Hiro struggles to even cut them in half, let alone damage them, showcasing his poor skills. Just as frustration mounts, a sand dragon emerges from the dunes, catching them off guard. Despite the fearful presence of the sand dragon, Hiro, desperate for attention, attempts to strike it, but his efforts fall short as always. Suddenly, a slender girl emerges from the dragon's mouth with a peculiar appearance, hilarity. Furthermore, she boldly expresses her desire to accompany him on his journey, something he never would have even imagined. Kalupa's panic is palpable as the strange girl, Serato, makes her introduction, while Hiro appears visibly flustered. Before they can fully process the situation, Juru launches an attack on Serato, only to be restrained by Hiro's intervention. Serato's odd behavior continues as she busies herself plucking something from the desert floor, while the others seize the opportunity to flee back to their base, where Hiro takes charge and prepares a meal for them. Later, lost in thought, Hiro finds himself contemplating Serato's unusual presence. Tomet teasingly suggests that he's a desperate single guy who must be smitten with her, prompting an irritated response from Hiro. Despite his annoyance, Hiro can't shake the feeling of concern for Serato's apparent loneliness. Tomet offers some perspective, reminding him that they too are alone without their parents, offering condolences for Hiro's loss, even if it happened long ago. Meanwhile, in the city, street to an already perplexing situation. The scene changes to a floating palace situated in a land where hopes go to die. Inside, Nambuko, the mastermind behind many sinister dealings, reviews trading reports and matters at hand. Dr. Baharapa some unknown reason, expresses concern for searching everyone off guard. Tomet experiences an average moment in the life of a Chad when he is captivated by her beauty at first, however. He quickly grows irritated by her whimsical behavior. She further adds flavor to her unusual behavior by warning Hiro that she will track him down no matter, suggesting that his quest to slay Dagon Zod is now indefinitely postponed since he has found a new love interest. The tension between Hiro and Tomet escalates into a heated argument until Serato intervenes. Some shopping but find themselves nearly out of funds. Meanwhile, Hiro ventures into the times once more but struggles yet again. Suddenly, a wolf descends upon them, launching an attack, powered and collapses. As the wolf turns its attention towards Serato, Hiro summons the last of a weirdo as always, reveals that she had merely fallen asleep before the wolf's attack. Upon noticing the wound on Hiro's shoulder, she effortlessly dragged by soldiers, destined for forced labor in a magic stone mine. Unable to tolerate such injustice, he implores Serato to wait as he enters imprisoned alongside the man he tried to save. The man reveals the grim truth that those sent to the mines never return, prompting Hiro to devise an escape plan using his fake badge, much to the man's dismay. Meanwhile, Sharu grows frantic as her magic mirror fails to function. Learning of no, as tensions rise, her presence adds an unexpected twist to Tomet's problematic situation. In the palace, the lord of the city erupts in anger when Nambuko interferes with his affairs. Upon discovering his ledger missing from its hiding place, the lord realizes Tomet's scheme. Threatened by his ultimatum, Juru and Palupa arrive just in time to retrieve the ledger, enabling them to secure Hiro's release and that of the other prisoners. His training. However, Serato persists in following him and Hiro can't stand her weirdness anymore, especially during his so-called training. In an attempt to provide for her, Hiro offers her a golden coin to purchase food. Meanwhile, Serato encounters Eren, who extends an invitation to a resulting refusal. On the other hand, Serato accompanies Eren to a hot spring, where Eren reveals rumors by the sight of Juru and Hiro locked in combat. Juru delivers a blunt reality check, stating that Hiro's reliance solely on the Grand Tribunals. Soldiers awaken the giant octopus, unleashing chaos as it rampages through the area, capturing Serato in its path. Eren swiftly departs, leaving the scene behind as the monster wreaks havoc, attacking everyone in its vicinity, even Sharu herself. In a bold move, Juru charges forward and defeats the monster, saving the day. Meanwhile, Hiro searches for Serato and finds her by the lake. With the monster subdued, they bring it to town, only to discover that the initial announcement was a ruse orchestrated by Sharu to capture Hiro. Undeterred, they hatch a plan to sell the monster to wealthy buyers, hoping to fund Hiro's quest. The following morning, Hiro bids farewell to the kids, ready to embark on his journey. Tomet surprises acquire the Grand Troa. Hiro promises to return and sets off with newfound resolve. On their journey, they encounter Eren, who reveals that Sharu was behind the monster incident the day before. She expresses her desire to join their party and offers a map revealing Nambuko's whereabouts in the land where wishes perish. He readily agrees, because what is better than having more than one ally in his group, especially beautiful female ones? As Hiro and his companions press forward, they encounter a formidable obstacle in the form of a massive bird. With Tomet, Eren, Serato, and Palupa taking covenant, having gone to fetch water. Seizing the opportunity for a private moment, Hiro volunteers to search for her and finds her by the stream. Meanwhile, in the palace, Nambuko showcases his weapon. Nambuko. Sharu witnesses the transaction through her magic mirror, but her mood quickly sours when she learns of the bird attack on Hiro and his companions. Nambuko reveals the existence of the massive bird, known as Hawkeye, leaving Sharu in a state of distress. She tries to bribe him with her cuteness, but he strictly orders her to find Hiro, and threatens that they revive 3 towering golems, unleashing them upon the group. Juru prepares to confront the golems in battle, while Hiro, driven by a sudden impulse, rushes towards Sharu in a state of instantly. Undeterred by Hiro's plight, Juru charges forward, engaging the soldiers and golems with remarkable skill, who emerges from a magical chest, and in a sudden turn of events, Palupa tosses both Serato and Tomet into the chest, much to Tomet's concern for the others. Meanwhile, Hiro finds himself cornered by Sharu's relentless assault, with Juru coming to his aid, as by Sharu's powerful magic. In a cruel twist, Sharu threatens to kill Juru if Hiro does not comply. Fueled by rage and desperation, Hiro's emotions boil over, causing him to undertake out the soldiers and striking fear into Sharu's heart. However, in the midst of his rampage, his strength diminishes, his mind confuses, and he collapses, losing consciousness. As Hiro regains consciousness, he finds himself confronted by Nambuko and his subordinates, but his weakened state leaves him here, with Serato setting out to search for Hiro while Palupa reluctantly parts with a hefty sum to fulfill Mumu's demands. Elsewhere, Nambuko meets with his buyer, an individual actor is in the midst of preparing his invention when a sudden burst of red light envelops the orc and the men. To their astonishment, the individuals merge into a monstrous entity, prompting a sense of praise from the woman witnessing Nambuko's success in combining humans and an orc, as Hiro secretly observes them bat. Hiro realizes he no longer possesses his sword. Undeterred, Hiro engages Nambuko in hand-to-hand combat, but his efforts prove futile as he is swiftly overpowered. Despite his defeat, Hiro demands the return of Grand Troa, only to be met with a luxurious tent, leaving Eren and Palupa behind. Meanwhile, outside the tent, Nambuko attends to his buyer, who is preparing a lavish feast. Sharu rushes to Nambuko to apologize for her failure to capture Hiro, but to her surprise, Nambuko commends Hiro's strength and rewards Sharu and her men with a bag of money. Overwhelmed with joy, Sharu embraces Nambuko in gratitude. Back at the trial grounds, Juru and the others observe the Eventually, Hiro frees his arm and seizes the opportunity to confront the doctor. Despite the doctor's persistent ramblings about Serato and Hiro's connection, Hiro realizes Serato's fate is intertwined with his own. The doctor acknowledges the doctor's value despite their confrontation, recognizing the necessity of the doctor's skills. Unconcerned, the doctor remains steadfast as his resolve is fueled by the desire to protect Hiro for Serato's sake. Nambuko, intrigued, questions whether Hiro is aware of Sharu revels in the gift bestowed upon her by Nambuko. However, her restlessness causes her to dispatch her winged eyes to secretly monitor Hiro's movements. As Hiro reaches a desolate village, Juru is struck by a sudden recollection, leaving him visibly stunned. Tomet remarks on the eerie atmosphere of the village, prompting Juru to affirm his suspicions and urge the others to survey the damage before making any decisions about staying. While exploring the village, Juru is confronted with a haunting vision from his past. He glimpses the silhouette of his childhood, triggering memories of the harrowing ordeal his parents endured. They were subjected to torment and persecution because his mother was human while his father bore a resemblance to a monstrous creature. The denizens of the monster village harbored suspicions that his mother was the catalyst for the village's misfortunes. Despite the accusations, Juru's mother staunchly defended his father. In a poignant moment, Juru's father called out to him, imparting the timeless lesson that a true hero never forsakes a noble cause. Tragically, Juru's parents were unjustly executed together, leaving a profound mark on Juru's psyche. In another part of the village, Tomet continues his exploration and stumbles upon piles of lifeless bodies. Above him, a lurking monster observes his movements, then launches a sudden attack. Juru is flooded with memories of the past, recalling the heroic actions of Barrow that saved him, as well as the tender moment he first laid eyes on the infant hero. Abruptly, Tomet races towards them, pursued by an ugly fusion of humans and orcs. Despite the looming threat, Hero steps forward to confront the monster, only to realize his foolishness that he no longer possesses his sword. With swift precision, Juru swings his sword, intercepting the monster's onslaught and shielding his companions from harm. Hero, recognizing his own vulnerability, cautions Juru that he has yet to fully recuperate from his previous ordeal. As the monster redirects its focus towards Hero, Tomet implores him to tap into his Dagon Zot form for defense. However, despite his efforts, Hero struggles to transform, leaving him vulnerable to the creature's assault. In a decisive moment, the monster launches a devastating attack on Hero, prompting Tomet's urgent plea. Yet, as the peril escalates, Juru intervenes once more, coming to Hero's rescue and swiftly dispatching the monstrous foe. On the other hand, Eren meets Sharisharu to meet the evil merchant. Eren turns out to be a rat as she informs Nanbuko that Hero possesses the heart of Dagon Zot. The merchant refuses to believe her at first, but she tells him that it is her job to distribute valuable information in exchange for money. Impressed, Nanbuko gives her an expensive item and later, he calls out Sharisharu only to order her to kill Hero. In the vibrant Rukano village, Tomet finds himself captivated by its lively atmosphere despite its location on the outskirts. Palupa explains that the village thrives due to its strategic intersection. Hero expresses his desire to acquire a new sword, but Juru suggests selling the crocodile first before making any purchases, cautioning Hero to be mindful of their finances. As evening descends, Tomet inquires about their plans for the following day, prompting Juru to advocate for some much-needed rest. While Juru busies himself studying the map and planning their journey in his quarters, Hero engages him in conversation, seeking to understand Juru's demeanor during their encounter in the village earlier. Juru reassures him, stating that he was merely fulfilling his duty to protect Hero, though Hero senses there may be more to Juru's thoughts. At the stroke of midnight, chaos erupts as a monstrous shadow descends upon the village, wreaking havoc and destruction. As the shadow reveals its true form, Dagon Zot emerges, casting a deadly aura that threatens all who cross its path. Enraged by the devastation, Hero moves to confront the creature, but Juru intervenes, urging caution. However, as the monster unleashes another assault, it becomes evident that this is not the true Dagon Zot. Just then, Sharisharu appears, disclosing that the monstrous entity is an invention of Dr. Baharappa. Serato urgently alerts her companions that the looming threat is not Dagon Zot. Meanwhile, at the palace, Dr. Baharappa and Nanbuko observe the unfolding battle, with the doctor expressing confidence in his plan to manipulate Hero. As Juru becomes ensnared by the shadow monster, Sharisharu launches an attack on Hero with her lightning-infused umbrella, causing Dr. Baharappa to panic as he realizes the significance of Hero's connection to Serato. Despite the chaos, Nanbuko remains indifferent, focused solely on luring Dagon Zot. Hero, overwhelmed by the onslaught, succumbs to the fear and anger within him, awakening the dormant power of the dragon within. His unleashed fury sends Sharisharu and her companions flying, leaving Tomet and Sarada in awe of his newfound dragon form. As Hero grapples with his inner turmoil, Juru finds himself consumed by the shadow, only to be rescued by Eren's timely intervention. Sharisharu vanishes from the scene as the true Dagon Zot materializes before them. In his fury, Hero, now in control of his dragon form, inadvertently strikes Juru with his sword, causing Serato to feel a sharp pain in her heart. The sheer force of Hiro's inner power causes all the mirrors in Nanbuko's chamber to shatter, signaling the extent of his unleashed energy. Eventually, Hiro regains his senses, and Dagonzot slowly fades away. Nanbuko realizes that to capture Dagonzot, he must first subdue Hiro, leaving Juru lying helplessly on the ground as Hiro and his companions rush to his side, overcome with emotion. As Hiro watches over Juru, who remains unconscious in the hostel, Serato joins him, offering silent support. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Palupa expresses dissatisfaction with the taste of the food he's prepared. Suddenly, Juru awakens, bringing a sense of relief to Hiro. Despite his recovery, Juru notices the smell of Palupa's cooking, acknowledging his efforts. Hiro's guilt weighs heavily upon him for his attack on Juru, but both Juru and Palupa reassure him that it was his Dagon form, not his true self, that struck Juru. Nevertheless, Hiro is deeply affected by the incident, saddened by the harm caused to his friend. Hiro's concern grows as Serato explains the dangers of healing Juru's injuries and the potential risks of Hiro's dragon form overtaking him completely. The fear of losing his humanity to the dragon within him terrifies Hiro. Juru suggests seeking guidance from Master Theo, believing he may have insight into their situation, but he loses consciousness once more. Meanwhile, downstairs, Palupa and Mumu clash over the costly medicine needed to treat Juru's condition. Mumu reveals that the medicine requires rare Seraphuria herbs, boiling down their hopes of a cheaper alternative. Tomet suggests returning to the healing springs, but Palupa fears it may not be enough to save Juru's life. Just then, Eren emerges with a solution, offering directions to the herbs in Kururu Arua Canyon. Despite Hiro's urgency, Eren shares the location, providing a glimmer of hope as the group prepares to embark on their quest to save Juru. As Hiro and Serato venture towards Kururu Arua Canyon, Hiro expresses his frustration at the distance they must travel. Serato reassures him, mentioning that her own well-being is intact despite the journey's length. Back at the hostel, Eren grimly informs the group of Juru's worsening condition. Palupa calculates their financial constraints, while Tomet voices his growing suspicions about Serato. He notes her peculiar behavior, including her lack of appetite during their travels. Tomet's doubts are compounded by Serato's seemingly convenient appearances and her association with Dr. Baharappa, who serves Nanbuko's interests. Additionally, Tomet observes that Serato rarely smiles, adding to his distrust. Meanwhile, Hiro and Serato have reached Kururu Arua Canyon, where they hope to find the rare herbs needed to save Juru's life. In the canyon, Hiro and Serato find themselves facing a giant toad that suddenly appears and attacks them. Serato acts quickly, pushing Hiro out of harm's way as they attempt to evade the creature. Their escape is hindered by a sudden downpour, making the terrain slippery. Despite the obstacles, Serato spots a Seraphuria plant, and Hiro heads towards it with determination. Back at the hostel, Eren relays alarming news to the group, revealing that Nanbuko plans to kill Hiro. She explains that she overheard this information through a device used for communication. Palupa is puzzled by Nanbuko's motives for targeting Hiro, and Eren suggests that it may be related to Hiro's connection to Dagonzot. Meanwhile, as Hiro struggles to reach the Seraphuria, the hill where the plant grows unexpectedly shifts away, complicating their task further. As Hiro struggles to retrieve the Seraphuria from the elusive glow tortoise, back at the hostel, the group discusses Hiro's connection to Nanbuko's plans. They realize that Hiro's visit to Nanbuko's place is tied to his inheritance from his father, as well as the fact that he carries the heart of the creature responsible for his parents' deaths. Eren adds to their concerns by revealing that Nanbuko orchestrated a hoax about Dagonzot's capture, intending to sow discord among the three kingdoms. The group understands that this misinformation will likely lead to increased weapon and armor orders, along with a rise in magic stone prices due to Nanbuko's monopoly. Palupa fears that these developments may escalate into a continent-wide war. Meanwhile, Hiro continues to struggle with the glow tortoise, prompting Eren to warn the group about the increasingly difficult journey ahead. Despite the potential dangers, she refuses any reward for her information, simply requesting a cup of tea in return. In the canyon, Hiro successfully retrieves the Seraphuria, but as he falls from the glow tortoise's shell, Serato catches him, leading to a moment of relief and shared smiles between them. Back at the hostel, Hiro presents the boiled Seraphuria to Juru, and as he consumes it, mystical lights appear and Juru regains consciousness. Outside the room, Tomet enters and shares a troubling report with the others. He reveals that children in the town are being coerced into mining magic stones, a situation that suggests the imminent outbreak of war. As they resume their journey, Tomek confides in Palupa that he's lost trust in Serato after witnessing her crying in the hostel the previous night. He now believes more in the mysterious girl they encountered earlier. Meanwhile, Tomek expresses his fear of the impending war and his desire to obtain the Grand Troa. However, Juru reminds him of the importance of finding Master Theo. Suddenly, a dignified man appears, and Juru and Palupa kneel before him. Palupa introduces himself as Barrow's servant, and the man reveals himself to be Master Theo. Master Theo's arrival brings a mix of emotions, as he greets Serato warmly, causing Hiro to feel a twinge of jealousy. Despite the momentary discomfort, they continue their journey. However, the thin air proves challenging for everyone, leaving them breathless. Master Theo, ever observant, notes their struggle and points out that Barrow and Palupa, his disciples, never seem to face such difficulties. Palupa apologizes for their lack of a present, while Juru respectfully states their intention to discuss something important with Master Theo. As they delve deeper into the cave, Juru lays out the troubling reality of Hiro's potential transformation into a dragon. Master Theo listens intently, his wisdom emanating from his presence. With a gesture, he summons forth a powerful energy, demonstrating the soul-destroying flames akin to Dagon Zot's devastating attacks. The old man delves into the tragic history of the failed sealing ritual, and the crucial role of Dagon Zot's heart, which now beats within Hiro. Despite his vast knowledge, Master Theo admits he lacks guidance on this matter. Hiro, grappling with his emotions, speaks out with his voice tinged with frustration. He confronts Master Theo about his absence during the sealing ceremony, and questions why he didn't intervene to aid his parents. This moment of confrontation crackles with tension as Hiro seeks answers to the questions burning within him. Master Theo's explanation echoes with deep wisdom as he explains the impossibility of sealing Dagon Zot, even with his presence. He extends an invitation to Hiro to embark on a journey of magical training, recognizing its potential to aid him in grappling with his dragon form. As they emerge from the cave, Master Theo creates tasks for each member of the group, a subtle guidance tailored to their strengths and needs. Stepping forward, Hiro finds himself confronted with a difficult task, following a twisty line to uncover a straight path within his steps. It's a metaphorical journey, designed to cultivate a deeper understanding of oneself amidst life's complexities. Yet, as he grapples with this concept, Hiro finds himself confronted with a simple and profound exercise, crumpling and uncrumpling a picture mirroring the intricate journey of self-discovery and transformation he is embarking upon. Palupa finds himself grappling with the depth of Master Theo's teachings, struggling to grasp their significance. Meanwhile, Erin diligently monitors reports from Nanbuko's palace, her heart heavy with the weight of impending war. As tensions escalate, she fears the inevitable outbreak of conflict. In the midst of their training, Palupa urges Hiro to maintain his focus, emphasizing the importance of concentration. Yet, Master Theo's guidance takes an unexpected turn as he instructs Hiro to discard the paper bearing Serato's likeness, prompting protest from the young boy who clings to it as a cherished memory. Suspicious of the budding relationship between Hiro and Serato, Master Theo observes their interactions keenly. Amidst this, Juru returns with his prey, a testament to his prowess in the wild. However, the focus shifts once again as Master Theo directs Hiro's attention to a seemingly tough task, picking up a pebble. Serato's perspective on the gold coin as a beautiful pebble adds a unique twist to the exercise, highlighting her perspective on the apparent difficulty. Intrigued, Master Theo instructs Hiro to throw the pebble to a location of his choosing. As the pebble is cast, emitting a faint light, Master Theo's interest is piqued. Sensing a challenge, Hiro confronts Master Theo, who eagerly accepts the challenge. Meanwhile, in the palace, Sharisharu grapples with a sense of sadness with her emotions swirling within her. Despite her inner disruption, she remains modest, and when her servant inquires about her desires, she can only shake her head in response. She is unable to explain the source of her sadness. Instead, she calls out Nanbuko's name, seeking perhaps a source of comfort or guidance amidst her inner anxiety. In front of the cave, Master Theo imparts wisdom about the Koku blade, demonstrating its power without the physical presence of a sword. Hiro is initially skeptical but attempts the technique nonetheless, surprising himself when his attack connects with the stone. Despite this success, Hiro remains unaware of the significance of his achievement. Meanwhile, in the palace, Sharisharu weakly interacts with her servant before being summoned by Nanbuko. Excited by the prospect, she eagerly heads to meet him. Inside the cave, Juru seeks guidance from Master Theo regarding Hiro. Theo describes Hiro's character traits and affirms that while Hiro may not excel in swordsmanship, his true talent lies in magic. Juru acknowledges this but expresses his desire to continue training Hiro in swordsmanship, wanting to support him. Master Theo assures Juru that together they can complement each other's strengths, with Juru's expertise in swordsmanship and Hiro's proficiency in magic. In the palace, Nanbuko is engrossed in monitoring his machine when Sharisharu arrives. He informs her that he has a task for her, prompting suspicion from one of the soldiers. Outside the cave, Master Theo instructs Hiro to assume his stance, but the young warrior is fatigued and frustrated. Theo challenges him to strike with the Koku blade, promising graduation if successful. Hiro launches an attack, and Theo fakes an injury. Despite Hiro's belief that he has mastered swordsmanship, they continue their journey. Unbeknownst to them, Master Theo discreetly activates a defensive magic barrier when Hiro attacks. Eventually, they arrive in the Mort Desert. Amidst their journey, they face an attack from a Hawkeye, but Juru successfully repels it. However, Erin collapses, dropping her device in the process. Suspicions arise when they hear her communicating with the enemy, leading them to realize she's the spy. Juru confronts her, and Erin confesses to being an information broker who sells her intelligence to Nanbuko. Despite the betrayal, Juru decides against harming her, believing it won't compensate for their losses. In the end, they leave Erin stranded in the desert, though she warns them of dire consequences to come. In the palace, despite her guards' concerns, Sharisharu is determined to fulfill Nanbuko's task. She enters the machine, where she and Dr. Baharappa have joined forces. Meanwhile, as night falls in the Mort Desert, Hiro and his companions grumble about the extreme temperatures. Juru reminds them that they need to prepare for 3 nights in the desert, where the temperature fluctuates drastically between scorching days and freezing nights. As they continue traversing the desert amid the sandstorm, the group faces challenges. Meanwhile, in the Saint Amoria Kingdom, the knights are preparing for war, believing that Van Lodi's and Ishilfine have formed an alliance and that Dagon Zot is under their control. In the desert, Hiro and his companions find themselves running out of water, and Palupa falls into a sand hole. Inside, they encounter a grotesque and formidable monster. Juru instructs Palupa not to move to avoid sinking deeper, but despite his efforts, Palupa panics and sinks further. Unable to help him, the group is surprised when Erin, the Blabbermouth girl, throws a rope to save Palupa. Though Palupa is saved, he remains angry with Erin, who explains that they are drifting farther from their intended destination. In the Ishilfine Kingdom, the king has been engaged in prayer for 3 consecutive days. There's a prevailing fear that Van Lodi's and Saint Amoria have aligned against them, and they're also concerned about the potential capture of Dagon Zot. Meanwhile, in the Mort Desert, Hiro's group is caught in a sandstorm, causing them to become separated. Palupa regains consciousness to find Erin beside him. She explains that she has only located Palupa and has lost track of the others. Despite Palupa's concern for their companions, Erin suggests heading towards the oasis, believing that they may reunite with the others there. Determined not to perish in the desert, Erin presses forward, urging Palupa to follow her lead. Juru encounters Tomet, while Hiro and Serato are separated from the rest of the group. As they continue their journey, Palupa struggles to walk but declines Erin's offer to carry his bag. Erin defends herself, explaining that she only sells information to those willing to pay a high price. She admits to approaching Nanbuko in an attempt to acquire the Grand Troa, but Palupa is overwhelmed and collapses. Meanwhile, Hiro and Serato endure the cold air together, with Serato appearing visibly concerned. The following morning, Erin and Palupa awaken, and Palupa notices a bug collecting dew on its body. He tries to mimic the behavior but fails. Hiro, meanwhile, is shivering and desperately in need of water, unsure of what to do next. Serato catches a whiff of the nearby lake on the wind and begins to undress. Elsewhere, Juru carries Tomet on his back and spots Erin and Palupa in the distance. They reunite as a group once again, as Serato collects droplets on her body and offers them to Hiro. He is briefly reminded of his mother. Meanwhile, a Hawkeye watches them from afar. Juru and the others finally reach the oasis, where Juru provides Tomet with water, helping him regain consciousness. However, their moment of relief is short-lived as Sharisharu suddenly appears in her fusion form. She attacks Serato and abducts Hiro before their eyes. Elsewhere, the 3 kingdoms continue to prepare for war. Hiro awakens in Nanbuko's palace, where the weapon merchant reveals his intention to revive Dagon Zot after 10 years. Nanbuko, unfazed by Hiro's rage, mocks him further, claiming that the Grand Troa rightfully belongs to him now. In a fit of anger, Hiro draws his sword and strikes at Nanbuko, but the enemy effortlessly blocks the attack. It becomes clear to Hiro that defeating Nanbuko won't be as simple as he thought. as Nambuko drops this bombshell of truth, revealing his own culpability in the tragedy of 10 years prior. Hiro's rage intensifies. He refuses to accept Nambuko's denial regarding the heart-switching incident, insisting that it was indeed his father, Lord Barrow, who made the decision. Despite his anger, Hiro attacks Nambuko once more, but he is swiftly overpowered and thrown out into the unforgiving desert once again. The weight of Nambuko's revelation and Hiro's failure weighs heavily on him as he struggles to make sense of the truth. As Juru and the others search for Hiro and Serato, Eren uses her device to listen in, hoping to pick up any clues. Suddenly, they hear Serato's voice calling out for Hiro. Following the sound, they find Serato hitting drums in an attempt to summon the dragon. To their shock, the dragon emerges and devours Serato. Panic ensues among the group, with Juru nearly attacking the dragon in his distress. However, Serato manages to calm them down, assuring them that the dragon will lead them to Hiro. Palupa recalls that Serato first appeared alongside a dragon, further deepening the mystery surrounding her. As the party rides the dragon, they soar towards Nambuko's palace. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Nambuko ensures that all preparations are complete. He plans to merge the sealing treasure with his device, believing that doing so will grant him dominion over the world. However, he acknowledges that achieving this goal requires sacrificing all the magic power in the entire realm. Undeterred by the enormity of the task, Nambuko remains determined to see his ambitions realized, even at the cost of immense sacrifice. As they arrive at Nambuko's mansion, Serato and the others find themselves facing a structure reminiscent of the Dark Lord's palace. Eren explains the history behind the palace, detailing its previous ruler Gyrokias and his defeat by the hero Dalhalbart. Despite its ruined state, the palace still retains powerful magic, now utilized by Nambuko. Their arrival doesn't go unnoticed, however, as they are swiftly attacked upon landing, with the dragon being slain on the ground. Surrounded by guards, the group must quickly formulate a plan to evade capture. Juru and the others manage to slip away before they are discovered, but they are uncertain about how to proceed further. Dr. Baharappa drops a bombshell, revealing Serato's true nature as a magic puppet created under Nambuko's command. Palupa is shocked by this revelation. The doctor further explains that Serato's creation is tied to the Balbagoa tragedy, during which Nambuko implanted the dragon blood crystal inside her body. However, because Nambuko didn't appreciate Serato's beauty, he ordered her destruction. In a desperate bid to survive, Serato froze the magma lake and managed to escape her impending demise. The group finds themselves in a difficult situation as they confront Nambuko and Sharisharu in the room with the giant crystal. Despite Hiro's warnings and pleas to leave, his friends refuse to abandon him. Serato, displaying selflessness, offers herself as a surrender in exchange for Hiro's release. However, Nambuko reveals that he needs both Serato and Hiro for his grand plan to unfold. As the solar eclipse casts its shadow over Balbagoa, Nambuko's sinister plan reaches its climax. With the convergence of celestial events, Nambuko intends to utilize all the gathered magic power to fuse soldiers from the three kingdoms with the essence of Dagon Zot, creating a monstrous entity even more formidable than the evil dragon itself. Meanwhile, the sphere surrounding Nambuko's mansion seals shut, trapping everyone inside. Sharisharu, realizing the imminent danger, sends all the accumulated magic power to Dr. Baharappa, believing Nambuko will spare her life. However, Nambuko appears and dispels any hope of salvation, declaring that everyone within the mansion will become part of his grand scheme. With this chilling revelation, the situation becomes all too clear to those caught within Nambuko's grasp. As the situation escalates within the mansion, Sharisharu's initial confidence turns to rage as she realizes the true extent of Nambuko's treachery. Meanwhile, Juru confronts Dr. Baharappa, seeking answers about the source of the fear that holds the magic inside. The doctor reveals that his true body resides in Balbagoa, and the current form he inhabits is merely a puppet. Juru's pride quickly turns to dismay as Dr. Baharappa attacks him, causing him to collapse. Nambuko, seizing the opportunity, uses his magic to summon Serato and commands her to obey his orders. Serato, under Nambuko's control, undergoes a drastic transformation, becoming a vessel for spreading terror. However, Nambuko's plans are thwarted momentarily as the heart of Dagon Zot inside Serato ceases to beat. Despite the chaos and crumbling mansion, Palupa desperately seeks Mumu's assistance. However, Mumu demands a high price for her help, leaving Palupa and the others to pool together whatever resources they have in a desperate bid for survival. As chaos reigns inside the sphere, Mumu prepares to fire the magic cannon, hoping to create an opening for their escape. With a powerful blast, the cannon pierces the sphere, allowing Palupa, Juru, and the others to flee to safety in Balbagoa. Meanwhile, in Balbagoa, Hiro stands on the brink of transformation into a dragon, a crucial step in Nambuko's plan to summon the Dark Lord. Enraged by the situation and the manipulation he's endured, Hiro launches an attack. However, before he can harm Serato or unleash his full power, Juru and the rest of the group arrive, intervening to separate the two and prevent further conflict. As Juru moves to approach Hiro and Serato, eager to intervene and stop the conflict, Sharisharu steps in to block his path. Despite being on the verge of death at Nambuko's hands, she remains loyal to him, willing to obey his commands without question. Nambuko himself watches the unfolding battle between Hiro and Serato with twisted satisfaction, finding beauty in the strife between two individuals bound by fate. As Serato manages to subdue Hiro and prevent him from further harming her, she restrains him and forcefully pins him to the ground. Despite Juru's desire to aid Hiro, Sharisharu intervenes, preventing him from intervening and nearly delivering a fatal blow to Hiro herself. Suddenly, Sharisharu is hurled away by an unseen force, revealing the appearance of Dagon Zot, who shields Hiro from harm. Nambuko, witnessing the activation of his magic reactor and the appearance of Dagon Zot, is delighted by the unfolding events. Nambuko then proceeds to imprison Dagon Zot within the Grand Troa, intending to fuse himself with the dragon using the magic reactor. As the fusion process commences, a tremendous surge of energy emanates from Balbagoa, signaling the beginning of the fusion. However, instead of utilizing the soldiers as planned, Nambuko decides to sacrifice himself to complete the fusion with Dagon Zot. As Dr. Baharappa witnesses Nambuko's unexpected move, he realizes the dire situation. Hiro, driven by a surge of power from his parents and other absorbed lives, attempts to counterattack. But Nambuko easily overpowers him, sending him crashing to the ground. Despite his valiant efforts, Hiro collapses under Nambuko's relentless assault. Feeling the urgency of the situation, Eren and Tomet implore Dr. Baharappa to intervene and stop Nambuko. Recognizing the gravity of the moment, the doctor instructs them to retrieve the magical reactor and disrupt the ongoing ritual. As Serato regains consciousness, she finds Hiro still lying vulnerable while Nambuko prepares to unleash the final blow, harnessing Dagon Zot's true power. Meanwhile, Dr. Baharappa, Eren, and Tomet act swiftly to take control of the reactors and initiate their destruction. With their timely intervention, the balance of power is disrupted, throwing Nambuko's plans into disarray. Despite their efforts, Nambuko remains undeterred, persistent on carrying out his destructive intentions. He summons the soul-destroying flame, aimed to unleash its devastating force upon Hiro. In a moment of desperation and determination, Hiro summons the strength to act, driven by a mix of grief, anger, and resolve. Witnessing Serato sacrifice herself to save him, he is overwhelmed with emotion. As Nambuko moves to execute his final, devastating attack, Hiro finds the courage to strike back, severing Nambuko's arm in a swift and decisive move. He finally confronts Nambuko head-on, piercing his heart with his sword, despite the villain's disbelief that a mere human could inflict such a wound. With the Grand Troa in hand, Hiro summons all his remaining strength and courage. He confronts the mighty Dagon Zot, knowing that his own heart lies within the dragon's formidable form. As Dagon Zot looms over him, Hiro makes a bold decision. He uses the power of the Grand Troa to wield the Koku Blade, the very weapon that had once sealed the dragon's power. In a decisive strike, Hiro plunges the blade into Dagon Zot's heart. With a mighty roar, the dragon's form begins to tremble. As the blade pierces through Dagon Zot's chest, Hiro's heart is released from the dragon's grasp, soaring free from its ancient prison. In a moment of triumph and relief, Hiro welcomes his heart back, feeling the weight of his burden lift as he embraces his restored self. As Hiro gazes upon the lifeless form of Serato, Juru's suggestion echoes in his mind. With a heavy heart, he approaches her and makes a solemn decision. Placing his hand over Serato's chest, Hiro summons the courage to transfer his own heart into her body. A miraculous transformation occurs as Serato comes back to life. With a gentle warmth, Hiro's heart beats once again within her, bringing her back from the brink of death. In a breathtaking display, the dragon's form begins to disappear, vanishing into a shower of graceful light that scatters into the sky above. As the darkness ends, the brilliance of sunlight pierces through the once shadowed land of Balbagoa. Amidst the aftermath, Palupa reaches for the shattered remains of the Grand Troa, his eyes glowing with thoughts of wealth and fortune. Yet, Eren and Tomet, driven by their own desires, engage in a struggle over the broken relic. In the chaos, the Grand Troa slips from their grasp and falls to the ground, fracturing into irreparable pieces. As Juru uncovers the truth about the object they believe to be the Grand Troa, Palupa struggles to accept the revelation. However, Juru explains that Hiro's hidden magical abilities allowed him to wield the heirloom effectively against Nanbuko. This realization dawns on them during Hiro's training with Master Theo, revealing the depths of Hiro's untapped potential. Serato, witnessing Hiro's tears, is taken aback by his emotional display, causing him to become flustered in her presence. Despite her surprise, she searches for Dr. Baharapo, only to learn that her father did not survive the battle. Meanwhile, the soldiers of the Three Kingdoms retreat, signaling the end of the conflict. Eren's intervention, fueled by her connections to the kings, ensures peace across the land. In a surprising turn of events, Mumu appears, reminding them of their dead amidst the newfound tranquility. On the other hand, Sharisharu's tears give way to joy as she learns of a freed girl, reborn and empowered by fusion. Embracing her newfound happiness, Sharisharu rejoices in the revelation. As they bid farewell to Dr. Baharapo with a solemn burial, Tomite and the others tease Hiro for his selfless act of giving his heart to Serato. Despite the banter, they part ways on good terms. However, Hiro rejects the label of a mage, choosing instead to embrace his identity as a wandering swordsman.